Needed any more evidence that these liberal clowns laugh in your face. Check out the photos from last night. They held something called Prosecco Prudence in celebration of passing a budget with a $78.3 billion deficit. And more telling than anything else, it's sick. These people sipping out of their champagne glasses while a record 2 million Canadians use food banks due to this liberal spending insanity and immigration insanity that we've seen over the past 10 years. But guess who this is sponsored by? Their Prosecco Prudence celebration last night. It's sponsored by Politico, a media outlet, as well as a set of lobbyists. A set of lobbyists. I kid you not. Geostrategies. So the Liberal Party of Canada is celebrating their $78.3 billion deficit by celebrating at an event sponsored by Politico and Geostrategies. How disgusting is that? And does it not give you such an indication of the type of people that these liberals are? Now, in the budget, they have even more control over the media than they've ever had before. They're spending $32 million on TikTok and YouTube to control the content that you are allowed to see in your phone. They claim in the budget it's to ensure that enough Canadian content is viewed, but that's not what this is really about. This is about controlling the content that you are and are not allowed to see. I was banned off of TikTok with 30,000 followers, and I know there are many conservative social media users who have had extremely similar experiences where they are banned because they're criticizing the Canadian government on immigration, whatever it may be. They're criticizing the woke ideology. And now with Bill C8, Bill C9, the government of Canada is literally making it illegal to criticize them online. They're defining it as hate speech. What it really means is if you criticize the fact that we've allowed 8 million people into the country over the past year. I personally have an immigrant neighbor who just arrived. Tell the man just arrived, swings a baseball bat against the wall, doesn't speak English. You go to a TD Canada Trust, you can't get anybody who speaks English. You walk around Canada, you feel as though you're either in India or in the Middle East. Now, I know the types of people who go to the Prosecco Prudence fundraiser may not have to deal with this on a daily basis. I can certainly tell you that Mark Carney and Jean-Philippe, all these idiots, Anita Anand, Mark Miller, Dominique LeBlanc, these people are not living in neighborhoods that are overrun by immigrants who have no understanding of Canadian culture, come from wildly disparate cultures, many of them from Afghanistan, places where the values that we hold dear in Canada mean absolutely nothing to them. But as always, the elites let millions of people into the country. If you have anything to say about it, because it affects your everyday life every single day with the interactions that you have, they call you a racist, a xenophobe, all the name calling in the book. But you know definitively that people like Mark Carney are not having to deal with this in their day-to-day life whatsoever. And how fitting is it? How detached from reality are these people to be going to something called Prosciutto Prudence, a champagne party. Prudence literally means cheap, like being a spendthrift, which is the exact opposite of what they're doing. It's 1984. Everything that these people say is the exact opposite of what the truth is. Imagine going to an event called Prudence after announcing a $78.3 billion deficit, putting the next generation, essentially once the boomer generation is done, everyone in Canada is screwed. We have so much debt in this country. So many immigrants are on welfare. The statistics are absolutely unbelievable. 45% of refugees from Afghanistan on welfare. From Iraq, it's something like 30%. There should be a law in this country that says if whatever the percentage is going to be, say 10% of the immigrants from a certain country are on welfare after a year, there's a complete a complete shutdown on people from that country coming into Canada for at least the next 10 years. But of course, they'd never do something like that because they love destroying the country. They love it. And Brookfield Asset Management, their $37 billion or whatever it is of real estate in Canada continue to go further and further up in value. Basic supply and demand. You continue to flood the country with immigrants. Who gives a goddamn if the quality of living continues to go down for your average citizen, as long as Brookfield Asset Management's value continue to go up? And you may have also noticed that actually Brookfield Asset Management were called to come before the House of Commons to speak about the numerous conflicts of interest that Mark Carney has, and they refused to do so. Their two senior executives who were called refused to do so. It's typical Liberal Party politics. Rules for thee, not for me. But these pictures are disgusting. They're just rubbing them in Canadians' faces. They know what a horrific state our economy is in. And it was not in this state 10 years ago when Stephen Harper was elected. Far from it. They know that we have the highest unemployment rate in the G7. 1 in 4 young Canadians are unemployed. The immigration is an absolute disgrace to this country. It has transformed us in the past decade. And like I said, you can bet your last goddamn dollar that Mark Carney, Chrystia Freeland, the whole lot of them are not living in neighborhoods where they're seeing open crack smoking all over the place, violence all over the place. They destroy the country and then they jet set out of here just like Trudeau did, who's now on his yacht with Katy Perry. But we need to start getting in these people's faces and calling them out. We see pathetic Chris D'Entremont, who used to be the Speaker of the House of Commons and shut down conversation about WF interference in the Liberal Party. So gross. He has jumped over now to the Liberal Party. We need people who are actually going to get in these Liberals' faces and call them out for the disgusting sellouts they are, selling our country out every single day. These last 11 years in Canada have been unparalleled and disgusting. They are doing everything they can to destroy the country if the country that our ancestors fought and died for defending is not already destroyed. That's why I've started the Fight for Canada party, a party that will actually call this out, not these milquetoast criticisms, but point out the fact that these people are demons who Trudeau's 5 Supreme Court nominees took down the minimum mandatory sentence for people with CP to under a year. It's disgusting. They're demons and they need to continue to be called out. If you'd like to sign up, please do so. The registration link is directly underneath this video. Really appreciate it. Need 250 signatures to register. Pretty sure I'm almost there. And then we can actually get some people out on the streets and candidates who are going to call these demons out for who they are. Please like, share, subscribe, join, become a member, grab some gear, donate. Really appreciate everybody's supports. To keep calling these clowns out.